Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome along. I would say post-match reaction, but we're a wee bit out for that. Normally we do it a lot sooner than this, but needs be, we had to push it back tonight. So welcome along a reaction to yet another home defeat for Rangers, at this time at the hands of Hibernian, 2-0 at Ibrox. With me to discuss the game and more is Connor. Connor, how are
you? Fuming, pissed off, angry, all the superlatives that you can use. You know, 5 games in a row at home we've lost. We've scored 1 goal in that time as well. So it's not just about the fact that, we're conceding and all that sort of stuff. That's clearly a massive issue. And I'll tell you now, I'm absolutely done with Jack Butland. I'm finished with him. I've had enough.
And that's not like you, because you're normally in the goalkeepers union.
Normally I am, but I cannot defend what is becoming more and more indefensible. 100 appearances, 101 goals conceded. Is that a Rangers number one goalkeeper, is it? Letting stupid goals, like what happened today, go past you. That ball shouldn't go through Jack Butland when Dylan Lever hits it. There's not even a lot of power on it. I'm sitting up in the club deck watching it. It was a decent effort, but it wasn't a lot of power on it. And it's a fairly easy one to deal with. You just basically land on that and you take it in. And he doesn't. It goes through him, and it's 1-0 yet again inside the first 10 minutes. The other end of the pitch, there's nothing at home. We can't seem to score goals at home at all. 1 goal in 5 games at home is a disgrace for a Rangers side, and in most of those games we haven't even looked like scoring either, which is the more worrying aspect of it. It's one thing if you're not scoring goals, but you're creating loads and loads and loads and loads of chances and you're just getting unlucky. We don't even look like it. Barami hits the crossbar. That's about as close as we came. I know Dessers had a chance that he could have taken, and there was a wee flick ball that went round that just goes wide of the post, and he obviously blazed one. But other than that, at no point do we look like it. And then the defence isn't even watching, isn't even in sync with each other to see that Martin Boyle, who's got pace, is just sneaked in right in behind him. And not even that, he's ran from one side to the other to pick that ball up and then went through one-on-one. Not one person gets back to stop it. It is a disgrace. And we've had the Wallen shots in the game. Hibs a few times got in behind, and we never heeded the warnings. And I'm an absolute loss for the ridiculousness of this. It's like they lost that game at Queen's Park and now they all shit themselves when they go to Ibrox. And I'm sick of the apologies. I'm sick of the excuses. Oh, it's not good enough learning lessons. Well, if you know it's not good enough, why does it keep happening? And Barry said it at his press conference that I listened to in the train on the way back. Broken up because I went through tunnels. But this is not a Rangers team. It's nowhere close to it.
I'm going to come to that.
He demanded more for him at half time and he didn't get it. I cannot explain that. And don't get me wrong, there's decisions he made that he has to hold his hands up for as well. I'm sick of seeing Danilo coming on a pitch when we're 2-0 down with 10-15 minutes to go. What are you expecting a guy like Danilo to do in that situation? Honestly, I'm absolutely furious and I'm done with so many of those players now.
I think we're all done with quite a lot of those players. But you mentioned it, Connor, right? So let's hear from Barry. This isn't the pressure that we all want to hear, but I'm going to come back to Connor's comments about Barry saying that this is not a Rangers team, because he's 100% right. And I think that actually filters a little bit back into Clement's time as well, which we'll discuss in a bit further detail. But let's hear what Barry had to say after the game.
Barry, just give us your assessment of that one there.
Just really poor. Listen, a poor result, poor performance. Look, we actually started the game okay, but another mistake from us. You give Hibs a real boost, and the way that they're set up and the way that they're drilled, they're a real tough team to get through. But we can't keep allowing teams a goalie a start from our sloppy mistakes. That's been an issue, not just since I've come in, but obviously throughout the full season.
Yeah, the nature of the goals that you're conceding at the minute, that must be so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It's as you can probably see in my face. There's a number of ways I can describe how I'm feeling just now, and yeah, just overall a really disappointing day. I thought after what happened last week against Dundee, with the comeback we had and the changes that really affected the team getting the 3 points. It was a real good training week we had. We went through a lot of video work as well, and it just looked at it just looked really disjointed at times, and that's something that I need to go away and look at, and so will my staff, and we'll need to go and reset because we've got a game on Thursday night. But listen, these European games, these are the ones that are easy to get up for. These are the games that have been our Achilles heel all season, and it's something that really needs to be addressed and really needs to be sorted.
What do you put the recent issues at Ibrox down to?
A lot of people say nervy, and I get that, but you've got to remember you're playing in front of your home fans. You're playing in a brilliant stadium, and the fans come in their numbers. I mean, you've seen it was a sellout. These are the games and the atmospheres you want to play in front of, and you've got to be aware of that as a footballer. I knew what it was like. I was lucky enough to do it many a times, and I'm lucky enough to be standing in the touchline doing it, but I just don't think our players understand what it's all about here at times, because, as I said, it's a brilliant place to play, and we really need to sort domestically the situation out, because, as I said, it's became a real problem now.
Yeah, you mentioned there we need to part this one quickly because it's another huge game on Thursday and another huge opportunity for the players as well.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to part because it was such a poor result for us. But again, yeah, we've got Europa League. But as I said to you, they're the easy ones to get up for. Quarter-finals. We're up against a really top team. But these are the games that, I know it's great for the club. I love being in Europe. These are the games that concern me, and this is yours, as I said, this is your bread and butter. This is the games that we've really struggled in, and it's something that really needs to be sorted as soon as possible.
Yeah, look, he looks baffled, Connor. I think if that's the correct term to use in that post match. I wanted to bring up a comment actually for Neil, and we'll discuss Barry now before we get back to the players, because the players are taking up most of this discussion, right? Neil's saying, I'm sorry, but the formation tactics and game management from Barry and the coaching staff was poor. The movement off the ball was terrible. The structure was so disjointed, no threat in the final third. We've had how many conversations, Connor, about Philip Clement and his tactics and his game management and how it's just not worked. Now there's people starting to have the same conversations about Barry. How much of today for you was down to Barry Ferguson's tactics, Barry Ferguson's instructions?
Well, he has to take a lion's share of the responsibility. What I said it last night on the phone. I love Barry Ferguson. The man was my captain. He was Mr. Rangers when I was growing up. I seen in my younger years, I think 4 captains of Rangers. I seen Big Lorenzo Amoruso with the armband, Barry Ferguson, the main one, Fernando Rickson, and that weird fever dream that was Gavin Ray for a spell in 2007. Although I've nothing against Big Gav, to be fair to him. But Barry, it was always Barry. It was his mentality. There were games where, as a player, he managed to get things out of players. I mean, he was the first one when the Paul Le Guen thing clearly wasn't working to be bold enough to stand up to Paul Le Guen and say, "No, this isn't Rangers. We don't celebrate draws. We're not happy with wee wins here and there." And he got booted for it. Now, as a manager, for me, I have to take away that side of things and my feelings about him as a player and examine what he's actually doing. And for me, I look at today and I think, and again, we all come on to the players, but there's something about Barry that the players aren't buying into either right now, and that worries me. You know, he's trying to put the message into them about this being Glasgow Rangers Football Club, and if you can't handle the pressures, then you shouldn't be playing here. And he's trying to get that message across. It is not working, and I think his tactics today. I mean, look, he's chopped and changed for 4s and 5s at the back fairly often. Sometimes not necessarily by choice. Sometimes it's been a necessity that he's had to do it. But why he keeps on persevering with certain players, I have no idea. And there's guys on the bench that, frankly, should be getting an opportunity now. You know, this.
What players are you specifically talking about?
Well, you know, I said to Alex at the stadium today, when was the last time you seen Ross McCausland? What would be the harm giving him a chance? What would be the harm with Oscar Cortez? I'm sick of him being on the bench and never getting on the park. What's the point? You know, he's on the bench again today, and again he can't get on when we're 2-0 down. And you've got guys there, and listen, I'll say this as somebody who has grown to quite like Big Diamande at times. You know, I think he brings something when he's at it, he can be really good. But he was shocking today. He was towing a caravan for most of it for some reason, and he just never really got control his midfield battles at all. And you think, well, do you know what? See, in those situations, sometimes you have to be bold enough to make that change and go, he needs to come off. You know, he took Cherny off before it, and I get that. That's probably because Cherny obviously is only just back for a knock that he picked up in internationals, and that might be why he had to come off. But as soon as he comes off and Bayrami comes on the park, and again, I know Bayrami hit the bar, but Bayrami's been absolutely mincemeat for us for a long time. Dug meat, and not just for us. He was shocking for Albania as well, to the point he get dropped in their second game. Because the Albania manager looked at him and went, this isn't the same fucking player that I've had here before. So why he's getting the opportunity ahead of guys like that as well, I've no idea. I know he threw on Finlay Curtis towards the end when he brought in, I think, Danilo as well. But again, you're bringing him on with 2-3 minutes to go. What's
there's no point in that. There's absolutely no point in bringing on Finlay with 2 minutes to go when you're 2-0 down. That's just that's.
I also don't agree, by the way, that when you're 2-0 down, and I don't care if you're fucking 4-0 down. See, when you're at Ibrox, you never wave the white flag until the final whistle goes. And for me, when you decide, and we'll come on to how poor Dessers was today, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I don't see any merit or rhyme or reason to just pull off a striker and just go, we'll just stick with having 2 strikers in the park. See, at that point of the game, there was 3 minutes of normal time left. There ended up being 7 minutes added on, so technically it was 10 minutes. You can score 2 goals in 10 minutes. For me, I'm throwing what I've got at it, and I'm going, right, Danilo, Finlay, you get on. I'm taking off a couple of midfielders, and we're just going to go for this here and see if we can get something to drop to us and at least make this a nervy finish for Hibs, if nothing else, to show that they're not giving up on it. But when you take, and again, Dessers should have come off earlier. I'm not disputing that. I'd have kept Diggerman on personally if you'd give me the choice. But you just, you know, he has to take account of that. He also has to answer for sticking with Jack Butland all the time. I mean, again, I go back to it. I'm sitting in the stands today. The amount of people, Alex, Wilf, and others that I'm hearing saying could have played Liam Kelly today. Jack Butland's absolutely shocking form. Take him out, put Liam Kelly in. I mean, Alex said that. I mean, he's like, the league's done. It's not like there's anything to play for in terms of trying to win league titles other than building momentum and winning games. So take Jack Butland out, give Liam Kelly that nod. He cannot do worse than what we're seeing for Butland. So it is things like that. He has to, if he wants these players to actually respect him a bit and see a bit of fear for him as a manager, then he has to make it clear that there is not a single one of them who is undroppable. Whether that's Jack Butland, whether that's James Tavernier, I don't care. Whoever it is, they have to know if you do not perform, then you're not getting on that park, because there's a group of lads behind you who are chomping at the bit for the opportunity and they're not getting it right now.
It's all fine and well saying there's a group of lads behind you chomping at the bit. Well, I get that, right? But Ross McCausland hasn't exactly shined this season when he's came on the park, albeit he's not had a lot of minutes. I'll grant you that, right? He's not shined. Cortez hasn't played because he's been injured. Danilo has barely had any minutes, and when he came on, didn't really make much of a difference. Bayrami hasn't kicked his arse for months, hasn't really made much of a difference. Finlay Curtis is a young boy who's not had any minutes, So there's not a lot on the bench, Connor, for us to say they're real game changers. Hadji came on, didn't really do anything.
But again, though, why is he waiting until there's 3 minutes left to go to bring Hadji on?
No,
The
I
midfield,
get that. But he's
for me, the
brought Hadji
midfield
on
was
in the
crying out
past.
for Hadji to come on earlier in the game.
Hadji made.
Well, if you give him more time, Hadji has proven that he can, not consistently, but never, but that's a problem for them all. But he has proven that he can make a difference at times. He at least is bold enough to try things. And look, it doesn't always work out or pay off, and you get annoyed by it sometimes. Absolutely granted. But at least he isn't afraid to take opportunities to have a go. Because sometimes you just need a bit of that. And bringing him on with 3 minutes to go, again, what are you going to achieve by it? The midfield was so poor that it quite frankly didn't matter. Somebody had to get hooked for that midfield earlier. Certainly, the only one for me that got anywhere remotely close to some sort of pass marks probably was Czerny. Because in the first half, Czerny was decent. He was trying things. He was getting into good areas. I felt when that ball came through to Dessers, he could have just slid it through to Czerny. Czerny would have been one-on-one with a tapping, ineffective if he had been passed through.
Connor, sorry to
You're going to blame
interject.
a striker for shooting.
Sorry to interject and cut in, right? The one thing I noticed for the game today was Steve Czerny's not creating or not making chances in games against opposition who are decent, right? Hibs are decent. They're on a good run in the league. They've got some good players. For me, they're a far better team than Dundee, right? Have we agreed on that?
100%.
Far better, right. When we play a decent team and Czerny's not on form or Czerny's not creating, Connor, who else in this Rangers team is? Right? So today, everything was on Czerny. Every time, if Czerny did not create, if Czerny did not do something, we weren't creating, we weren't scoring, we didn't score, right? But there's so much pressure on that guy's shoulders that every single time he gets the ball, we're on the edge of our seats going, it has to be you, mate. You have to do it because there's nobody else in this team.
Yeah, 100%. And you need that. And look, I mean, somehow, without Czerny in the team, we scored 4 goals against Dundee. Somehow.
Poor team. Dundee are a poor team.
But they're a poor team. When you're playing teams like Hibs, and make no mistake about it, Hibs are now 15 games unbeaten in the league. They haven't lost a league game. 16, sorry. They haven't lost a league game since, October, November? They're actually in very, very, very good form. And so you knew that with the form we've been in, with the form they're in, they were not going to fear coming to Ibrox today. They were going to come today thinking, 3 points in this for us, lads. Let's turn up here and turn them over, because Motherwell done it, St Mirren done it, Queen's Park done it, Fenerbahce done it, we can do it. Not a problem. Okay, we won that game against Fenerbahce in penalties, fine. All that matters is you get through. I can live with that. What I can't live with is 4 domestic games against Queen's Park, St Mirren, Motherwell and Hibs, and you only score 1 goal against that lot as well. Not good enough. Nowhere close to being good enough. And the fact is that Hibs, to be fair, and it has to be said, and Barry said this as well, they fully deserved their 3 points today. Hibs game plan, they absolutely implemented it perfectly today. David Gray knew exactly what he wanted to set his side up today to do, and they'd done it. They were frustrating. They were getting under the skins of the crowd at times because there was time wasting going on at 1-0 in particular. Their goalkeeper, I mean, the 6-second rule in football is long since dead, but he was fucking holding on to it for 20, 30, 40 seconds at times when it was coming back to him. But again, he was getting allowed to do that. I thought, and listen, none of it's an excuse at all, but it bears mentioning again. I thought Don Robertson had a horrendous game. I thought he was shocking. I thought the fact that Hibs had put in a number of fouls, including 2 towards the edge of the box, that he gave free kicks for, but didn't brandish bookings for in the first half. And then the first time Tav made a foul, booked. Now, Tav one wasn't booking, but so were the 2 Hibs ones.
I'll be honest, I thought he was poor, but I don't think he was any worse than anything that would cause his issue. I don't think he was.
No, it didn't. I'm not saying it didn't cause his issue. You're absolutely right.
Terrible. I thought he was poor because he's a poor referee. But I don't think I wasn't sitting after the game going, "Oh, the ref was shocking today."
Oh no, I totally agree. I'm not disputing that, and it had no material bearing on the game. But it's just that typical inconsistency that you get. But listen, to be clear, and Stephen Harkins, again, I'll repeat myself, the referee had no bearing on the outcome or the result of the game today. That was squarely at the door of the players. I'm mentioning it merely in passing because it bears mentioning, that's all, because we know how poor refs are, but it didn't affect the game. It didn't stop us for doing things. What stopped us for doing things was, again, slow movement. You know, and yeah, as Ian Tom says, it serves a further annoyance, and that's what it does. But that was Hibs' game plan, and fair play to them. But it was, you know, the attack and play for the vast majority was slow, ponderous. It wasn't really probing. The Hibs keeper wasn't forced into making any real good saves. And when it's in front of them, it's easy for them. Hibs, when they went 1-0 down, for them, most of the time spent with one man forward and the other 9 behind the ball, but happily watching as Rangers done everything in front of them. The only times we almost got success or almost scored was when we did speed it up a little bit once or twice and we got in behind the one, as I say, that Dessers, for example, flicks on. That was quick one-touch play that you have to do. You have to do that because that's what these teams are going to come and do. And I can't get why these players seemingly can't get it into their heads. You need to be quick on the ball. You need to get it in behind them because eventually something will drop to you and you'll end up tiring them out as well. But when you play it in front of them, happy days. That's what Hibs want to do all day long.
Right, let's move on to the players, shall we? Before we can talk, we will talk about the goals when talking about the players because it goes hand in hand. But Jim Sloan, channel member for 28 months, he basically owns 95% of the Rabble, Jim Sloan. But he's saying, we have a team of journeymen only interested in earning money, no respect for the club or the supporters. Now, Connor, A, do you agree with that comment, right? And let me try and play a bit of devil's advocate on that. Is it a case that that's what they are and they don't care and they're just playing for their wages? Or are they not good enough? And by not good enough, I'm encompassing everything, you know, so their attributes, their playing style, their playing skill, and their mentality.
I think for a fair whack of them, they're not good enough. But it pains me to say it because a few weeks ago, you know, if this had just been an isolated incident and we've had a bad day at the office and we've lost a bad game to lose at home, fine. When you've lost 5 games in a row at home, I can only but agree with Jim Sloan when he says that they've absolutely no respect for the club and no respect for the supporters. How can you, as a Rangers player, knowing what you served up in your last 4 home games, have these fans yet again turn out in what was very near a sellout? A couple of empty seats, but in the main, a sellout. Nearly 50,000 again, turning up despite everything that's been going on. And that's what you serve up to them once again. Once again, you're offered nothing. You're not even scoring goals, so you're giving them nothing to cheer and try and get behind and you know, be that 12th man. There's just absolutely nothing to get your teeth into. How can they do that? And there's fans travelling far and wide to come and see that as well. I mean, poor Craig, what a journey he done up for Cornwall to watch that absolute mince. At least it's only an hour up the road for me.
A bit of background.
That shows the lack of respect they've got for the supporters, in my opinion.
A bit of background on Craig. Craig obviously has a new baby. He works full time in Plymouth. He can't get up to that many games. This is Craig, who's part of the pod. And financially, it's difficult for him to get up to the games, as it is for a lot of people, right? So he has to pick and choose his games wisely, and he has to book time off work, etc., etc. He's come up with a day for that game, and I won't even tell you the travelling that he's had to do, right, to be able to go to that game. But he's now got like another 10-hour journey home because of the way that he's got to go. And there'll be hundreds of fans like that travel, like you say, not just from Northern Ireland, from all the way down south. There'll be fans that have came from abroad. And even if the league's done, Connor, even if the league's gone, it was well gone weeks ago, never mind the day, right? The league's been gone for a good few months, right? The league's done. You put in every single ounce of effort you've got for the fans that travel from. We're a worldwide football club. That's what these players don't understand. This isn't no disrespect. A Leeds, This isn't a Bradford. This isn't a Bournemouth. You know, this isn't a club that's just got fans within its own area and maybe a wee bit from outside. Albeit most of Manchester United's fans live in London, right? But however, I'd like to have a wee dig at minority. But these players need to start. It's too late for them to start. They should be playing, Connor, at 100%, full throttle all the time for the fans that travel and spend absolute thousands of pounds to come and watch this football team. And I think Jim Sloan's 100% right. They've got no respect. They don't care. They'll pick up their thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds every couple of weeks because footballers get paid fortnightly. And they'll go back to their big hussies and they just don't care.
No, they couldn't give two monkeys. You know, it seems to me, right, and again, we are Rangers fans, right? It means, in a lot of cases, Rangers Football Club means more than life itself to a lot of people. Some of the happiest memories in my life have involved Rangers Football Club and watching them win league titles, watching them win a treble in 2003, the helicopter changing direction in 2005, absolutely scushing it in final days against Dundee United in 2009 and Kilmarnock in 2011 when we go and hammer them and win league titles. That has been some of it, and obviously the European finals. Rangers has offered that in my life, so maybe we are speaking for that perspective. But I just can't get my head wrapped around it, because surely, after what happened in the Queen's Park result, surely you put that to bed straight away and you go, do you know what? We're better than that at home. We have to be better than that at home. And here's how you react to that. We're now going to go and win all these games at home. Because see, prior to that Queen's Park game, they hadn't lost domestically at home all season. In fact, only Dundee United had managed a draw against us. So we dropped 2 points all season domestically at home. In Europe, we'd lost one game, and that was to Lyon. Fair enough. Lyon are a good side. I can accept things like that, because sometimes when you're in Europe, you'll play against a team that are just a better team than you, and you have to say that. But after that, where's the reaction? You've got guys like Tav who always come out and say the same thing. By the way, I say always come out. We'll come out when it bloody suits him. Most of the time, he only shows up when we've won games of football rather than when we've lost. But he'll come out sometimes and go, look, we know it's not good enough. It's unacceptable. It has to be better. Balogun had said it as well. But nothing. These players are only interested in turning up in games that might benefit them as individuals, because it might have more eyes on it. That game's on the telly today. That's your bread and butter 3 o'clock kick-off at Ibrox against the team who are in good form and sitting third in the league, but against the team you should probably beat, right? So there's no many eyes on it from a television perspective. Whereas if you're going to Parkhead and winning, then these players are going to turn up for a game, because they're going to think, well, I'll tell you what, see if we can get a result here and put in a shift. Somebody might have a wee fancy and take us away. We might get a bigger money move. That's what these players think, in my opinion. That's why they turn up in Europe.
I don't know.
Because, it's picking and choosing what game you fancy turning up in.
Yes and no. Right, I've heard this a lot, that they just turn up in the big games so they can get a move, or other clubs can look at them for a move away to a not a bigger team, because there's not many bigger teams in Rangers, but a team that can offer them more money and play in a better league. But that doesn't stack up for me, because clubs don't just look at you in the big games; they look at you in all the games, right? They scout you against the teams in your league. For me, I think it's something along those lines, Connor, but I think they just got up for the big games because they're big games, and they can't be arsed with the wee games against your Dundees and your Dundee Uniteds. And I can't really think of any smaller teams in Scotland than that, but that's two of the smallest. But all joking aside, it's just the fact that it's Hibs at home. Well, that'll take care of itself. I'm not really that fussed. I don't know.
But
so much.
That's an attitude that has to change. Those players have to understand.
100%.
They're the games that win your league titles. No, the big games. They're the games that win your league titles, because Martin, and I don't believe we will, because I'm convinced we are now going to lose every home game between now and the end of the season domestically, because I don't think they can be asked. But if we beat Celtic at Ibrox, we'll have beaten them 3 times in the league this season, taking 9 points off them. And they'll have won the league at an absolute canter. They're going to win the league officially next weekend when they hammer Kilmarnock about 10-0 at Parkhead. Make no mistake about it. This is the thing. And yet, we could end up in the end of the season beating them 3 times. You don't take 9 points of your nearest and dearest rivals and be out of the title race by, what was it, January? You cannot, but I've never known either side, even at their worst, even Celtic under Mowbray or under Lennon in their last season, didn't beat Rangers 3 times and still get absolutely pumped by a mile in terms of the points gap in the league. It's honestly, you can't. That's all about winning your wee bread and butter games that need winning if you're going to win league titles.
I don't know what's scarier, right? The fact that we've not won at home in 5 games, or the fact that I had just shaved my beard and my mustache and my sideburns, just before or just after we won, and it's all not fully grown back yet, but it's grown back. That's quite worrying. Right, okay. The first goal, Connor. You mentioned it at the start. Do you know that way that somebody's been playing really poor and they play for your football club? So initially you go, "Oh, that's disgusting. That's terrible. That's another mistake," and then you try to, in your mind, look for an excuse, right? So the thing that jumped into my head was, well, it's came through a few bodies, right? And then you see the replay 2 or 3 times. And you can't use that as anywhere near an excuse. There's just no excuse for it, Connor. This isn't just another mistake. Like I said, I think I said this in the build-up, right? See if somebody, I don't know, hits a shot for long range and it's gone in the corner, and you maybe get down and you dive too late because you've reacted too late, right? You can put that down to that's a poor mistake. That's bad reaction time, right?
Mm-hmm.
A mistake like today from Butland that we have seen now on umpteen occasions, Connor, these aren't excusable mistakes for me. There's not a lot of power in that shot. The bodies that it's came through are a good, 10 yards away from Butland, so he's had plenty of time to see the ball. He's already down, so it's not as if he's late in reacting, and the ball just goes right through him, Connor. For a Rangers goalkeeper, once you can say, right, he's cocked up there, he's made a mistake, he'll learn for that and he'll move on. But Connor, this type of mistake now with Butland is becoming constant.
It's getting utterly ridiculous. Look, people say, well, he's pulled off some big saves in Europe. He's definitely done a couple of good saves. Yeah, he's made a few great saves. I'm not disputing that. But this time last year, Martin, we were talking about Jack Butland in a vein of, I'll tell you what, we could probably get 10, 12 million for him. How's he not get? That's the conversations we were having on here as well.
The conversations we're talking about, should he be playing for England?
I was just about to say that. That was the conversation we're having. How is he not getting called up to England? How is James Trafford in ahead of Butland? Look at what he's doing. Well, apologies to Gareth Southgate, because clearly you were right and we were wrong. Clearly there's a reason he didn't get in, and this is it. I suppose the one advantage I had sitting where I was up in the club deck is that I was right side on to that goal. So I could see clear as day from the ball, the effort being in. I could see the gap you're talking about there. There was a good few yards between the players that were in front of him and the ball coming to him. There wasn't an awful lot of power in the shot. It's a decent effort by Dylan Levitt. It's decent, but it's not something that should cause any goalkeeper problems. If I'm a Hibs fan, I'd expect the Hibs goalkeeper to save that. Never mind Jack Butland, because it's bread and butter stuff. But it's his reaction time is so slow, because the only way that ball goes under him is he's not gone down quick enough to get it. Now, you've got options there. For me, the simple option is you get down and you just take that ball and you basically land on it. And you cradle it in and back up, let's get everybody out attacking. That's what should happen there. Worst case scenario, if he can't do that, if it takes, a ball or whatever, worst case scenario, palm it out if you really have to and you don't feel confident enough to take it in. But there is, Aldo, you're right. I am not defending. In what way am I defending Jack? But I'm done with Jack.
He's not having a go at you at all. He's just saying it's a pass back. There is no defence for it.
There is a pass back, you're right. 100%. And that's the point I'm making. So for me, and as I say, because I'm side on, and you said it, sometimes camera angles when it's you're back to it and you see, you think, oh, maybe there was a load of bodies in front of him. Pish. You could see that coming 100 miles away. And I'm not even being facetious when I say this. I'd have saved that today, Martin. I'm telling you, I'd have saved that. Because you don't concede goals like that as a goalkeeper at any level. And for me, it just solidifies how poor he is. And you've got a guy in Liam Kelly. Okay, is he top class? No. But does he know his way about Scottish football? Is he an experienced goalkeeper? Absolutely. And I can't see why you wouldn't just give him a nod. Why not? Jack Butland is utterly garbage now. So give him the nod and see what he can. He can't be worse. He simply can't.
See, there you've had Aldo having to comment, just, defending himself, Connor, because you had a goal.
No, it's my fault, Aldo. I misread it. And I'm so angry, particularly with Jack Butland, because when you know this, Martin, Keepers Union, I have tried to defend him and defend him and defend him. I defended him even in the Man United game. It's a poor mistake, but look, at least he's done this and he's done that. There's been times where I've went, listen, the defence are letting him down. They need to be closing players down. They shouldn't be doing it. I've tried so hard to defend Jack Butland because I hate being the one to bury goalkeepers, but I cannot defend him anymore. There's nothing to defend because he's not giving me anything to say. Do you know what? Actually, and look, yeah, if he were being ultra generous, somebody out there's probably sitting saying, but maybe one of the defenders can close it down. Pish, doesn't matter. Yes, maybe they could, maybe they should, but even if they don't,
that's different. That's different if it's a shot that gets rifled into the top corner or rifled into the back of the net and there's nothing the keeper can do about it. If buts and maybes, it could have been closed down a lot quicker. Of course he could have. Every goal's preventable, right? Every single goal in world football is preventable. Even if it's a 30-yard absolute screamer, well, somebody could have closed him down before he hit the shot. The point, the fact of the matter is, that was a pass back, right? That's when he should have just grabbed up and ready to go, and he didn't. And don't worry, Aldo, mate, I'll give you Connor's address when we're finished.
And do you know the thing is, man, he's in the very fortunate position where he's sitting under a learning tree of a man who, let's be honest, when we have discussions about who's the greatest Rangers goalkeeper of all time, is usually in the top two. There's usually a toss-up between Big Shagger and Andy Gorham. Normally Andy Gorham gets it because Andy Gorham's the goalie and he did do some magnificent things. But so did Alan McGregor. And Jack Butland is having the privilege of sitting under that learning tree. McGregor is training him, and I fully believe, and I seen them do their wee warm-ups and their training before the game the day. I know for a fact that Alan McGregor will be tearing strips off him for that, because that's the type of character he is. Because he'll expect better for his goalkeepers. And as I say, you've got Liam Kelly there, who I think is a capable deputy. Christ, even Mason Munn, I don't really care at this stage.
Let me ask you, Connor, and by the way, just before I do, Trev, I never seen your point on Butland, so if you want to put it back in again, mate, I will bring it up, because as Trev put in the comment, where is it? Why does Barry keep playing Butland when he keeps doing this? Can Barry surely not be that blind? P.S. I also partially own you, Martin. Which is true to an extent. It's absolutely true. Which leads me on, and Aldo, I've got your super chat there, buddy. I'm going to bring it up in a minute. But that leads me to my next question, Connor, and that is, does Kelly play on Thursday?
If I was Barry Ferguson, absolutely. Liam Kelly plays. I get some people might not be the biggest fans of Liam Kelly. I can understand that. But Liam Kelly, as I say, he's a capable goalkeeper. There'll be some out there that'll say, you know what? Get Mason Munn, but Mason Munn's not experienced enough. At least Kelly's got some experience.
Yeah.
I think you have to look. It's at the stage now where it is costing us keeping Jack Butland in goals. And so Kelly cannot be worse. And I've seen Kelly. I've seen, in occasions he has played for us, he's done okay. He's a decent keeper. I go back to pre-season. He pulled off one of the saves of the season in pre-season against Ajax. It's absolutely unbelievable. So he's got it in his locker. Now, so does Jack Butland, some would say. But Kelly, for me, if Liam Kelly's in goals today, I don't believe he's conceding that. Because the one thing I would say as well, his confidence isn't going to be shot as Jack Butland's, because he's not the one that's in there and under fire making the mistakes week in, week out. So I think you give him that opportunity. And listen, Smoke, I get what you're saying about Man and getting the experience, but I just think Bilbao in the quarter-final of the Europa League is too big a game.
He goes out and won the age he has to get experience. 18-year-olds don't start as goalkeepers. Very, very rarely.
No.
Very, very rarely.
They don't. And I mean, Jock there saying that if Kelly made mistakes on Thursday, Barry would get lambasted. He'll get lambasted.
I don't think he would.
But when Butland makes a mistake, I will not. I guarantee you, if I'm on here on Thursday night, and you can hold me to it because I'll say now, if I'm on here on Thursday night, whether it's to watch on reaction, whatever, and Liam Kelly is starting that game, if Liam Kelly makes a mistake, I will not come on here and have a go at Barry Ferguson for putting Liam Kelly in, because I think it's frankly a risk, if you want to call it that he has to take, because Butland is costing us big time.
Mm-hmm. He is. He 100% is. Aldo, channel member, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Not being funny, but where was Lawrence? He made some difference last week, and I'm not a Lawrence fan, by the way. I can only imagine, Connor, and I haven't, maybe somebody in the comments knows, I've not seen it. I've not seen it asked. I don't even think it was asked pre-match. But I would imagine that's an injury because it's Tom Lawrence.
Probably. It can only be. But I find it a bit strange that the question wasn't asked, wasn't mentioned. I don't remember. I could be wrong, so somebody do tell me if I'm wrong. If Neil McCann,
yeah, he's injured. He's injured.
If maybe Neil McCann on Thursday had said that. It's a shame he's injured. I don't know how he got injured, because he came on against Dundee and when he went off the park he looked fine. Didn't look like he picked up a knock there. He must have pulled something during training, which is typical. That's the problem with Lawrence. I think Lawrence is a good player. I've always said that. His problem is he can't stay fit, and so he can't help you when he's in the treatment table, unfortunately. So, I mean, yeah, because I have to believe that if Lawrence was fit and available today, he would surely have come on off that bench in the second half. I mean, surely.
It could be, as multiple man saying, resting him to replace Diamande on Thursday. Jock Blue said the same thing, keep Lawrence for Thursday. But he would have probably still been on the bench, I would imagine. Also, and this is just on a personal note before we go on to talk about the rest of the game, I want to congratulate my little brother at 19. He's either 18 or 19, right? He's one of the two. I think it might be 19, but he might also be 18. I don't know. He scored his first professional goal for Peterhead today in their 5-0 win. So congratulations, Adam. Well done on scoring your first professional goal, little bro, and hopefully here's to many, many more.
What's he doing Thursday night, Martin? Is he available?
Well, I can guarantee you, I've not spoke to him, right, but I can guarantee you in the way home, he'd be, even though he's just scored his first professional goal, and he'll be absolutely buzzing, he'll be absolutely raging with that result for Ibrox. Absolutely raging. But yeah, congratulations, Ad. And by the way, if you want, I'll get in touch with Rangers and we'll see if you're available for Thursday, because we could probably use you. Luke McDonald with a super chat. Thank you very much, Luke, for the support, my friend. Honestly, I think these players go home and don't care about the result, or it sticks with them all weekend, happy collecting a wage. We mentioned that earlier, Connor. That's personally what I think it is. I don't think it is try to put themselves in the shop window. I just think too many of them don't care. And by the way, let me also carry that and ask you, right? So, right, we're supporters. We love Rangers. Rangers is my job, right? I spend probably 95% of my day thinking or creating or doing something round about Rangers, right? So Rangers pretty much takes up my whole life, which actually sounds really sad, right? But it's the truth. So I'm going to get upset. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get annoyed. I'm going to get pissed off when things aren't going right with the football club. I'm going to look into every single detail. Things are going to probably annoy me more than what they probably should. Are the players well within their rights to go home and not care?
No.
Question.
No, they're not. Not for me. They should care. They should give a shit. They should pay more respect. Because let's be clear, these players are at one of the biggest clubs on the planet, not just in Britain, but in the planet. Rangers as a global brand are one of the biggest clubs, football clubs in the world. They just are, right? Some people might try and take issue with that or claim otherwise. I don't care. It's a fact. Look it
I
up.
agree with Stephen, by the way. I need to get out more.
But it's a privilege, and Barry keeps saying it. These players have the privilege to walk across the white lines on the turf at Ibrox Stadium week in, week out. Something, Martin, that you and I could only dream of doing. That is the dream of every young boy that follows and supports Rangers Football Club.
I think
And
you'll
these
find I'm
guys,
playing for Arden Boys Club. So just
of course, aye. I had a trial for Kilmarnock, so I think that one ups you. But anyway,
I was
but
at Manchester United, but I didn't want to bring that up. But
was it no? You sure it wasn't the FC United of Manchester? And you just got it mixed up.
No, it was
Right.
it didn't work out for me.
So it is an absolute privilege that they get to do that. So not caring for me should not be an option for them. But it is increasingly obvious that they don't, and particularly, there's guys in that team who've been at the club for a while. James Tavernier is about at the stage where he'll get his testimonial for having been at the club for a decade. Right now, he's been a polarising figure pretty much for that entire time. I don't remember a time where there wasn't some fans who loved him and some who hated him, and then vice versa. Switch. That's hard for you. But he is a guy who's been there for 10 years, a guy who has won a league title at Rangers, who's won cups, who's been in a European final, who's also been there in the real doldrums, been there during Pedro Caixinha, who, by the way, Pedro Caixinha didn't lose 5 games in a row at home. Garbage as he was, he didn't lose 5 games in a row at Ibrox. Neither did Paul Le Guin or any of the other crap managers we've had. But as a captain, Tav, for me, he should embody that on the park. Barry Ferguson can't get the strip on and get the boots on and go out in the park and do it for them. Neither can Neil McCann or Billy Dodds. Although to be fair, Neil McCann and Barry look fit enough that they maybe could, but Billy Dodds, unfortunately, he's had a few pies like myself, to be fair. But but Tav has to be that voice on the park. He's the most experienced player on the pitch that we've got at Rangers Football Club. He should know and he should care. You're the captain. What are you doing? I want to see him screaming and shouting at players, dragging them kicking and screaming the finishing lines if he has to, and he doesn't do it. He's one. The most frustrating thing is, as captain of Rangers Football Club, he's one of the first to give up in these type of games at times. I know he's come up with big moments for us in Europe. I know he got a Europa League Golden Boot, and as a right back, absolutely that is a sensational personal individual accolade for him, and I congratulate him for it. And I still believe, because we have to respect and honour the traditions and the things that you do, that he will and probably should get his testimonial because he has given us that service. But no many people are going to turn up to it. If this is what we're getting from, that has to change. But he's one that should care. In terms of the others, I just don't know because I don't think they get it. I really don't think they understand it, and I don't think it matters how many times Barry, Billy, or Neil, hammer it into them or Shagger hammers into them. They just don't seem to want to listen. They're not interested. Most of them, not all of them, I will say, most of them, because I do think Czerny cares. I think you can see that in his performances. He cares. I think Dessers cares. He's just not good enough. I think is the problem with Dessers on a consistent basis. That is because he has got 20 goals, plus both seasons he's played for us. So fair play. But there's a lot of them I don't think care.
I don't think Tav doesn't care. I just don't think he's good enough anymore. I don't think he gave up today either. I'll be honest with you.
He didn't give up today, but he has in the past.
He has in the past. I just think he's poor. He's got that mentality that a lot of people are saying, look, fantastic, Mr. Fox is saying it. Tav's loser mentality rubs off on the rest of them. I don't know so much about that. But yeah, it's easy to say he's got a loser mentality because, well, pretty much the whole time he's been at Rangers, he's been a loser. I just don't think. Excuse me, my stomach's gone. Excuse me, I apologise very much. I just don't think he was good enough. But you mentioned a man there, and we'll move on before we discuss the second goal because I'm very conscious that it's 9:20 at night and we've been on for 50 minutes and people will be fed up with our faces. Cyril Dessers again, Connor. This is the games that we're talking about, right? Against Dundee, he had 11 or 12 chances, or however many it was. The actual amount of chances doesn't really matter, right? The fact that he scored at the end of it and he scored the winning goal, that's what matters, right?
Mhm.
But when you then have the discussions about, well, look how many chances it's taken him to score, right? When you're in a game and you're at 0-0 or you're at 1-0 down as a striker, and Dessers had, what, 3 chances today, I think? If memory serves me. It may have been a couple more. I'm not sure. He had one, or the pass was kind of played out wide a wee bit. It was a wee bit wide, and he got it on target, and the keeper made a really good save. I'm not calling that a gilt-edged chance, right? But he had a massive chance when Iggy played him through corner. He's centre in a box, or it was a defender behind him trying to make it difficult for him, and it's just blasted over the bar. You have to have a striker who, in moments, in games, regardless of how many chances they get, whether they get 5 chances, whether they get 15 chances, strikers have to be able to take certain chances that get you back into games or win you games, right? And Dessers, it was proved that this is a game today where he didn't take the chances that he had to take. And I'm not saying that fully cost us, but it certainly was a big part of it.
Oh, it's a massive part of it. He has the chance to level the scores up before half time. A massive chance.
Mhm.
And not only does he miss it, he doesn't even put it on target. He doesn't even work the goalkeeper. He blasts it over the bar. He then gets one where he gets in behind that I think in the second half I think it's borderline whether he'd have been onside or not. But in that position, if you're Cyril Dessers, you can't care about that. Your number one objective there is put the ball in the back of the net and then let VAR do what VAR's going to do. And if you're onside, then that goal counts. If you're offside, then, well, fair enough. That's another part of his game. He seems to find himself in that position quite a lot. But, at least put it in the net. He doesn't seem to want to find corners. He takes the safe option all the time when he gets in the box and tries to hit shots. Or he overcompensates like we want to put over the bar. Why are you hitting it straight to the goalkeeper? Put it round him. Chip it over him. I mean, look at the goal he scored against Dundee. That's an example of not taking a safe option. He chests it down brilliantly. The control's excellent. And then he just nicks it beyond the goalkeeper and into the corner to win. That's the kind of thing you have to do. Because if you just hit it straight at the goalkeeper, he's going to save it more often than not. You need to pick a corner. Try do other things. And he doesn't do it often enough. And again,
there's a perfect comparison for me, Connor, on that pitch today. Now, Martin Boyle's a completely different player to Cyril Dessers, right? A lot of Martin Boyle's play is about speed and about getting in behind and stuff like that, right? So they're different in that aspect. But see, when Martin Boyle's one-on-one with a goalkeeper, Martin Boyle scores.
he does.
He just scores. Dessers doesn't.
Can I ask you a question as well, Martin? Because it really annoyed me today. Now, there was one, and you'll know better than me because I get one view for the club that you'd have seen replays. He had that shout in the second half for a potential penalty. I don't know if it was. Prior to that, there was one where the ball was played through to him, and okay, there was a hand on his shoulder, and he just flung himself to the ground rather than trying to keep going for the ball.
Mhm.
And I'm screaming, thinking, well, the rest will get a free kick there. And I'm trying to work out in my head, why, if he's going to be through there, why is he going down rather than staying his feet and go for it? I mean, I just think that is he getting to the point now where he is going down far too quickly and too easily, looking to buy fouls because I don't know what, because he's not confident that if he gets a ball he'll score. I don't get it.
It's one of my biggest bugbears with Cyril Dessers is that he goes down too easy. Now, what I will say in his defence is that that's football now, right? See if Dessers is playing in Spain or even England or Italy, he gets the majority of the free kicks that he doesn't get in Scotland. Now, I'm not saying that's right because I don't agree with it. There was a couple of times a day that I said on the watch along and people were arguing me in the comments and I'm going, was one point I think the Hibs boy brung his arm up and I think he caught him in the face. He was too tight to him and Dessers fell. And I'm saying, just stay on your feet, fight for the ball because it's one of my big frustrations that players nowadays just go down and roll about and want a free kick, right? To your point about the penalty, I only seen it twice, and I don't know if I'm just a wee bit old-fashioned in my thinking, Connor, right? The Hibs player's got 2 hands on his back. But for me, and just for me, I would need to see it again. He just goes down. I don't actually think there's a push. I think Dessers just goes down. And I think Dessers, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for, Connor? Reputation. That's the word I'm looking for.
Reputation, that's the
I
word,
think
yes.
Dessers' reputation doesn't help him in situations like that. I think he goes down far too easy. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. But the boy does put 2 hands on his back, and there's probably been penalties given for it. But he goes down far too easy for me, and it's a constant with Cyril Dessers.
It is. It's starting to really, really frustrate me. I mean, there was another one as well where we get the ball out wide, and I think Tav, I think it is, looks to play one in. There's a wee bit of pinball, whatever. I think Raskin picks it up. Don't get me started in that. I mean, fucking Dane keep you uppies, and then you just kick the ball out of play. What is he doing? But in that situation, I then looked up and I went, why is Cyril Dessers sitting on his arse inside the D in the box? Because I didn't see any contact on him, so I don't know why he was on his arse, but he was. And he is going down too easy. Look, it is. Look, modern day football is clear. You know, if there's contact and it could be enough you to go down, then absolutely managers are telling players to get down. I get that. I'm not naive to modern football. But we are also in an age of VAR. And as you say, just because a player's got a hand or 2 hands on your back, if I just do that, if there's no pushing motion, if I don't shove you or do any kind of movement.
I don't think there was a shove.
No, and that's what I'm saying. If I don't do that at all, then you can't just go down, because then that is you diving. Now, don't get me wrong, Ian said earlier that Hibs players were doing it, but do you know what the difference is? Hibs players were doing it, but they were doing it because they were leading the game. They had something to hold on to. We didn't have time for our players to be rolling about and wasting time. We needed to be quick in our movement and our thinking. And when Dessers does that, it frustrates me, especially when there's a ball lofted over to him. He feels a wee hand in the shoulder and he just goes down. And you think, why are you going? If you stay on your feet, you're probably going to get on the end of that ball. So why don't, unless you have to, unless the contact is enough to put you down, just don't do it. It's so fucking frustrating, honestly.
It really is. And by the way, that was a frustration for me as well, that throughout that full game, the amount of teams, our tactics seemed to be get to the halfway line and chip it forward. Get to the halfway line and chip it forward. Then get it to Czerny. If Czerny can't create, get it back to the halfway line and chip it forward. When Hibs were coming forward, they were getting into spaces in our box, and we couldn't work out how to do that as a team. Now, I don't know if that's just down to players or that's down to Barry. I don't know, right? But that's a discussion for another day, which we will definitely have. Just want to finish up, Connor, on the second goal. What is it good play from Hibs, Connor, or is our defence sleeping?
Well, it's a bit of both. It's Hibs spotting the opportunity. Martin Boyle, to be fair to him,
Our defenders know how quick he is.
Well, he's rapid, and he sort of bends his run, and he bends it perfectly timed to keep himself onside. And he goes, as I say, he basically goes from our right back position to our left back position to pick up the ball, or at least our left centre back position to pick up the ball and then go on 1-on-1. And Martin Boyle's in that position, you know, unlike Cyril Dessers, he's going to score. Martin Boyle doesn't miss that opportunity. Most of the time, you don't expect anybody to. I can't, and again, I've seen it once on the ground. I do not know how he got that time and space in behind us, how he's kept on side. Jeffy, for me, is sleeping because it starts at his side. And I mean, don't even get me started on the day. He was rag rotten. It was his side that Hibs were getting the joy down constantly because he was out of position so many times. At one point, Hamza Igaman had to go back and cover for him and do a bit of defending. I don't want Hamza Igaman in the right back position. That's not where he should be. I get sometimes you've got to roll the sleeves up and dig in. I understand that. But he was so out of position all the time. And that was another example. Now, whilst I say Martin Boyle bends his run well, our defensive line have to, and this was the same thing happened with the Dundee second goal as well. When you had Sterling not getting out quick enough and playing players onside. If you're going to be pressing high as a team and you're going to have a higher back line, then everybody has to be in sync with each other. You have to move together. Because if one of you is just a fraction back, that's all it takes to keep somebody onside. And again, we're caught out by that because there's no cohesion. But again, I go back to it. Who plays in that defence? Your captain plays in that defence. He should be organising that. You've got big Soapy Suter in there, a very experienced centre-back, who may or may not sign a contract extension with us in the summer. I have no idea. They have to organise themselves better and push up as a team, as a unit, and push back as a unit. If you're not going to do that, then you're going to have to sit deep because you're going to get caught out. Players as quick as Martin Boyle only need that wee fraction of a second to be onside, and they're in, and they'll get there. It really is so poor defensively from us, but not surprising, not in the slightest.
No.
And Ian's right. Ensign would have done a better job, to be fair.
Yeah, it's really not surprising. If I could ask everybody watching on YouTube just now to do me a massive favour, could you please hit that like button? And of course, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button as well. It really does help us out. It helps to share the podcast throughout the algorithm that is YouTube. And if you've got time, I know it's late at night, but if you've got time, once the podcast is over, come back and leave a wee comment. That also helps the algorithm, and I'll reply to any comment that's left underneath, if they're replyable to, I should say. And I know times are tough, folks. Everybody's bills have just went up, but we do run this podcast full time, and it is run by our members who sign up, who help support us. So if you want to join the Rabble network just now, you can do so. Links are in the description. For as little as £1.99 a month, you get at least 8 shows a week extra. And there's other tiers in there as well that gets you more and stuff like that. And you get the opportunity to join our Discord as well. So, but most importantly, folks, if you could hit that like button, it would really help us out. It would greatly appreciated. It means a lot for the podcast to get it shared. And thank you very much for all the support that we get. Thank you for tuning in this late on a Saturday night when you probably get better things to do with your time. So thank you very much, folks. Connor, we'll leave it there, buddy. We'll be back Monday night to go over this all again, no doubt. We'll discuss the likes of Raskin and Jeffy and Dio and all that in a bit more detail, the central defensive partnership. There's plenty more to take for this game and look forward to Thursday as well. So thank you, Connor.
No, not a problem. I would say it's a pleasure, but it's never a pleasure talking about a result like that. But delighted I could jump on and talk on my opinions. And I do, as I believe, Martin, there is 2 member shows going out tomorrow on the podcast.
There is. And we've also got a third one that may be going out tomorrow, or I might save that for Tuesday. I don't know. But we've got a special European travel show going out as well. But anyway, folks, listen, go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all the support. Remember, and just hit that like button. It really does help us out. And we shall speak as I end every podcast with, because we're on every single day of the week. We shall speak very soon. Good night, folks.